Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm doing a foundation first impression on the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. There are 32 shades and I'm really excited to share with you guys my first impression, how it looks on my skin, how it wears. You guys will get to see up close and personal. We're going to be talking about what the company claims. Does it actually do what it says it's going to do? Also, we're going to see how it works with dry skin. We're going to see how it works with the heat and the humidity. I do have lines and wrinkles on my forehead, so we're going to see if it works good for mature skin. I will also be swatching this next to my other foundations and seeing how the shade and tone look. We're going to be checking if it oxidizes. We're going to be checking the flash test. So we're going to be doing a lot of things in this video. I'm going to try to give you as much information as I possibly can about the Beauty Blender Bounce. So before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you're notified of all my future videos. I upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and hit the like if you're excited about the Beauty Blender Bounce, just like I am. So I know there's a lot of controversy on the shade range. I'm not going to touch on that here. Everybody's talking about it. Should they expand their range? Yeah, they should, so they can include everyone. Yeah, of course. I was excited about their medium range because they have so many tones, so many different undertones in their range now. And I know that it seems like a lot of the foundations are the same, but the tone really makes a difference between the shades, especially on the skin. So I have an olive undertone, and I only have one foundation out of all the foundations that I have, which is a lot, that has an olive undertone, and that one is the Dior Backstage one. It matches me the absolute best because of the undertone. And a lot of my foundations, as you will see in the swatches, they have the warm undertone, and those just, I have to make more of an effort to blend it in and to make it look like it matches, because it's just, if it's not the right tone, it just makes a difference. So I was so excited to see that they have olive tones in here. For those of my olive girls that always say it's hard to find one that matches you because you have olive skin, Beauty Blender came out with a bunch of olive tones as well. So it's really, really exciting. So what the company claims, let's talk about that really quickly, and then we'll do the swatches. So this retails for $40 at Sephora's website. There are 32 shades. I have the shade 3.3, which says it is medium plus with warm olive undertones. It is full coverage, it's matte, it's a weightless liquid whip foundation with multi-dimensional velveteen matte finish that wears up to 24 hours. The best foundation is the one you can't see at all, with a bare skin feel yet completely full coverage. It's never chalky or lifeless. It has hyaluronic acid and antioxidant rich white birch extract. It leaves your complexion both perfected and protected. So perfected, I'm guessing, means blurred. Yeah, leaving the skin looking picture perfect for up to 24 hours. There's no parabens, there's no sulfates. It does say on here that it's made for sensitive, normal, and combination and oily skin. It doesn't necessarily mean dry skin, but we're gonna test it out and see on my dry skin how it looks. Also, you guys, if you're trying to shade match or compare yourself to me, I always put a huge list of foundation shades down below in the description box. High-end drugstore foundations that match me the best, so go check that out. But yeah, let's just go to the swatches, and then let's go to me applying the foundation, and you can see how it applies and all of that fun stuff. Okay, so this is the Bounce foundation. I'm gonna put a fresh swatch next to it so you can see what it looks like. It oxidizes a little bit more neutral. It starts off really, really olive, and it kind of ends up looking a little bit more neutral right here. Okay, here's the Bounce foundation in 3.30. Here is the Dior foundation, which is 2WO. This is my best match. This is the only other olive foundation I have, and you can see how much olive it is compared to this one. This one kind of matched the fresh swatch, but then whenever it oxidized, it didn't match it anymore. It like oxidized more neutral. Here we have the Cosmetic CC Cream Matte in medium tan. Here we have the Born This Way foundation in natural beige. Here we have the Laura Geller Filter First foundation in fawn. You can see how orange this one is compared to all the rest. So I'm talking about super, super warm, peachy, warm, and you can see the difference here from these ones. Then we have here the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation in golden beige. We have the Colourpop No Filter Foundation in medium 80, and then we have the Maybelline Fit Me in 220. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with a primer. This is the Too Faced HangoveRX primer, which is a good primer if you have dry skin. This is just one of my favorite primers of all time. Okay, so on one side of the face, I'm gonna be using the Sigma sponge, and on the other side of the face, I will be using my F80 Sigma flat top kabuki brush. And let's just get started. So the cool thing about this is that it has a lock and unlock button. So it's locked right now and you can't push it down, but you can unlock it right here, which is really, really cool. It also has 1 fluid ounce, which is pretty standard. Also in the back, it says Beauty Blender, and it has this little, you can see like this divot in there where your Beauty Blender can go and you can bounce it straight from here. Kind of like a little palette, so you don't have to have your own palette, or you don't have to put it in the back of your hand, which is what I usually do. Basically, you hold it 45-degree angle like this, and you go ahead and you pump your product. That's 1 pump, and I'll do 2 pumps, and there it is on your little palette there, and you can go straight in with your beauty sponge. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this side is gonna be the beauty sponge side, and I'm gonna start to apply it, and it says it's supposed to be full coverage. Usually sponges will make something lighter coverage, make foundations lighter coverage, but it looks like this sponge is not doing anything to the coverage. It looks pretty full coverage already. Is it full coverage? Yes, it is. Okay, and you can see I still have a ton in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on my forehead. I do have a lot of lines, and sometimes matte foundations just look terrible on my forehead. Like they just look dry and crackly, and it sinks into all of these like lines. You see those lines? Like it will sink in there. So we'll see if this one does that. And I'll go on my nose as well. So far it's looking really, really good, and the shade is absolutely perfect for me. It's looking really good. So I'm gonna go in with the brush. It also says it's supposed to be perfecting, like it's supposed to perfect. So when something says it's supposed to perfect your skin, I'm thinking it means it's supposed to blur. It's supposed to blur your skin, which I think it does. So I definitely think it's full coverage. It covered everything on my face. And it did blur. It looks like everything is pretty much blurred and perfect. Okay, so I'm done. Now you're left with like this dirty palette. What you're actually supposed to do is you're supposed to switch your blender over to the back, and you're just supposed to swipe like this, back of this. Mine is like dirty all over. I need to wash my blending sponge, but all you have to do is switch it over to a side that is clean. You swipe like this, and it basically cleans your palette so you can then reuse it. So it's nothing that you have to then grab a wipe or do anything crazy to clean it. You just use a clean side of your sponge and you just clean it and wipe it up, which is really, really easy, I think. So I absolutely love this. It made it mess free. I don't have to wiping my hand off after I'm done with the foundation. It's just like perfect. So I'm gonna set my foundation. I'm gonna put the rest of my makeup on, and we will see how it looks from there. Yeah, it's pretty much set by itself, but I'll set it a little bit just because it's so humid here, and I'll be back. Looks so good. I barely finished my makeup. Okay, so this is how the foundation looks after I applied all of my makeup. I'll link everything that I used down below just in case you're interested, but I'll go through it really, really quickly. So for bronzer, the Too Faced Sweet Tea Bronzer. For highlight, the Revolution Blushing Hearts Triple Baked Blusher, Peachy Pink Kisses, which for me, it is a highlight. For, oh, I set my entire face very lightly with the Colourpop No Filter Setting Powder in Banana. Also for my blush, I use the LA Girl Just Blushing Blush in Just Kisses, a tiny bit mixed in with the BH Cosmetic Nude Blush Palette. This color right here. For the eyes, I use the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. I basically used all of the purpley shades, like these two, this one, to create a very wearable type of look. And for the lips, I use the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuits in Pink Really Hard, and then a little bit of Rebel Rose to give it a little bit of a mauve tint. And that's it. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna tell you, I really love how it looks on my skin. It is a matte foundation. It does feel lightweight. It does look like it's barely there. It looks very skin-like, even for the matte finish that it gives you. I do think that it gives you a blurred or a perfected look on the skin. I think that on the brush side, it started to not look like that when I was stippling it, but as soon as I started to swipe down and kind of finish it off, it did give me that perfected look on that side of the face as well. I think the sponge side is absolutely beautiful. I'm definitely going to be applying it more. Yeah, it hasn't settled into any of my forehead lines, which makes me think that this would be a good one for mature skin or skin that has a lot of lines or wrinkles in it. It's going to be better than another matte foundation. Usually matte foundations, they will sink into your lines, but this one is doing really good. We'll see how it looks at the end of the night though. But so far it's looking really good. It's not clinging to any dry patches. I do think that in the wintertime I'm not going to set it. It's just because it's really hot and humid that I did set it today. Also, I am loving the skin tone and the skin shade that I picked. 330 is my perfect match. I love the olive tone in here. I think it looks so good and it's spot on, and it made it so it's like my perfect match. It just looks really, really good. I'm really impressed with it so far and their selection there. Also, I do love the packaging because it was super easy to clean. You guys saw I didn't need to get a rag or a wipey or anything like that. I just used the back of my sponge and it cleaned it completely, and it just is really, this is like really easy to clean. So I'm liking it so far. I will check in with you guys at the 5-hour mark and then at the very end of the night, and at the 5-hour mark we will see what the flash test looks like and we'll kind of talk about it then. But yeah. Okay, so it's been 5 hours since I first applied the foundation. Let's take a look at the flash test and then let's look at how the foundation looks on the skin, like really close up. For the flash, you are gonna get a bounce back. You are gonna get a white cast on your face if you use this with flash photography. Keep that in mind. There is a really bad bounce back, but that's just how it is. Because I use the Colourpop No Filter pressed powder, I know that the bounce back is not from the powder. So just so that you know, this foundation does have a flashback. Okay, so how the foundation looks after 5 to 6 hours. It's looking really, really, really good. It's starting to, today's one of those just really hot and humid days. Even in the house it's hot. So the foundation is starting to get a little bit more glowy, I notice, especially like right here on my cheeks and a little bit on my forehead, but it doesn't look bad. It looks like a healthy, light, healthy glow, and I like that. I think it's nice. So I think that because it is thin, it will break down quicker. I think that if I was outside all day, that my foundation would break down like in my forehead. That's what I think. Those are the vibes that I'm getting from it. But so far it's looking really, really, really good. Again, I barely set it, you guys. I did a light dusting. So this with a matte pressed powder, really pressed into the skin, I think would do great. But if you're wearing this on its own and you're in a hot, humid place, just be aware that it might break it down. But it's looking really nice so far. Really nice around my nose. It doesn't look crusty. It's starting to accentuate a little bit my creases here, a tiny bit. You guys can see close up that it is starting to do that. So just be aware of that. If you have a lot of lines and creases and things like that, smile lines, this one might sink into those lines, but we'll see more at the very end of the night. So Other than that, I love how it looks. It looks great in person. It looks great in daytime. I love the undertone to it. It looks beautiful. I can't stop talking about that because it matches me so good. So I'm gonna check back in with you guys at the very end of the night. We'll try to get as much wear as we possibly can from the foundation, like 10, 12 hour wear type of thing. But yeah. Okay, so it's the end of the night. I've been wearing the foundation for about 10 hours and I'm ready to go take a bath. So let's finish this up and see how the foundation looks after 10 hours of wear. I'm definitely a lot more glowy, especially around my nose here. I mean, you can see with the light reflection, I got really glowy here in this area. My forehead looks pretty good and it didn't end up sinking into my lines. It accentuated them a tiny bit, but this is really, really good for a matte foundation for me. I think around my nose is starting to break apart, but it doesn't look too bad. Everywhere else, like you can kind of see the foundation sitting on top. It still has its full coverageness, still looks really beautiful on the skin. Just around the nose, I definitely should have powdered a lot better. And I think it would have lasted really well that way. I mean, the coverage is still there. There's still product on my nose, but like around my nose, you can tell it's starting to break apart. So all in all, you guys, I think this foundation is really nice. I'm actually surprised that it actually does what Beauty Blender says it's going to do. It is lightweight, it is thin, it is full coverage. It does have, it's pretty true. I mean, oxidize a tiny bit, but it's pretty true to color. It does perfect and smooth the skin. And it looks nice. It was matte. It did last. I mean, especially on my nose, it definitely did last. It would have helped to really set it, but I don't think it would last 24 hours, but it lasts a long time. I think that this foundation would be good for oily skin, but if you have oily skin and you live in the heat and the humidity, really powder your face because any matte foundation will break down with this heat that's going around in the summertime. But I think it is a good foundation for oily skin. I think for dry skin it's a good one as well. I really liked using the Too Faced HangoveRX primer underneath, and next time I'm definitely going to set it a lot better. But I hope I answered any questions that you may have had. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, feel free to comment below. I will read them and reply to you guys. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and spending some time and taking time out of your day to watch this review. I hope you guys will subscribe before you leave, and I will just see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.